G'day guys, and thanks for tuning in. You're listening to Paul Michael, and today we're going to start a series of videos, theory really, about neuroperformance, which is an interesting topic because to date, when you look at high performance and how we train performance, a lot of it really is physical. You know, you go out and you train your speed and you train your power and you train your endurance and your cardiovascular conditioning, and you train skills, but there's really not too much out there in the world of training your neurological pathways or neural pathways. And I guess a lot of that comes down to the fact that the brain is just so complex that it's really hard to understand it without really digging deep and really going down a rabbit hole of knowledge and research. And for that reason, the application of that never really happens. So what we're talking about today is a few little simple ways that we can get a concept about how this guy works, which is the brain, and how we can utilize knowledge we have about areas of our brain or our athlete's brain, or you know, as a coach, who you're looking after for whatever sport they're doing, in order to speed things up, to make them more efficient, to make decision making better. You know, imagine if we could get 1% better with how fast our eyes move, and 1% better with how coordinated we are, and then 1% better with the ability to make decisions, and all of a sudden put that back together, and those little 1%ers all of a sudden make a big difference in the long run. So the neuroperformance world is really about just what we do with bodies, is really about looking for weak areas and weak parts of what might contribute to a performance in the competitive arena, and then breaking those down and strengthening them up. All right, and we know with the theory of neuroplasticity that the brain is always changing, and it's always making itself more efficient based on what tasks it's given. And when you think about it, it's really like that with the entire body. You know, if you were to put the muscles in the legs under some sort of resistance, and then eventually they're going to adapt, because the body is really just a big adaptive organism, okay, and it's got to be like that to survive in the environment that it's in. And as a matter of fact, all species are really like that. You know, they're designed to adapt, which means when stimulus in some form is given, and in the neurological pathways, it might be a thought, or it might be a motor movement. So when we give those stimuli to those neurons in the brain, those neurons fire, and essentially, if we do it enough, we're going to get increased efficiency of firing, because those neurons are going to get stronger, or the neurotransmitters that are transmitting communications between neurons are going to get more effective at doing that. And that means we're using less energy to create a similar response, just like we would when we put gravity as resistance to muscles, see muscles increase in strength, or when we work the cardiovascular system, we have physiological changes that make us more efficient to run for longer, for example. The same sort of changes are happening on a neuron level when we use the neurons in our brain. So yes, neuroplasticity does exist, and yes, it means that the brain can get better at what it's doing if we train it. And yes, we can work out which parts are weak and which parts are strong, and then pinpoint those parts that are specific to our sport and try and make this guy work better. All right, so that's what neuroperformance is about. So we're really talking about the brain, and it really includes a lot of different facets of what's happening in the body, because, as you know, the brain controls everything. So we've got the central nervous system, which is our brain and our spinal cord, and then we've got the autonomic nervous system, which really comes under that central nervous system and really runs on the background to work on all the functions of our body that are automatic. Okay, so our respiratory rate, our blood pressure, our breathing, our temperature, and these types of autonomic functions are really done in the background, but we can get in there and we can modulate them with certain activities and tasks and learn how to take control of those things. And then we've got psychology and the mind, which is a whole new rabbit hole in itself, and helping us understand how to get in the flow state and that sort of stuff. So the brain really has a lot of untapped potential in here that we can really start looking into and for the athlete that's not already doing that, then it really opens up a world of exciting opportunities to improve. And anyone who's at the elite level knows that 1% extra is sometimes all it takes to make the difference. So hope you enjoy these videos. Tune in and make sure you share these around and get in touch with us if you want to know more. But let's get stuck into it. These videos are going to be about 5 minutes at a time, so they don't get too overwhelming. And the next one I'm going to do is all about the frontal lobe, so we're going to start at the front. Alright guys, thank you.